Social media disruption. Twitter is meeting today. They are in a Twitter, perhaps, all discussing Elon Musk's offer to buy the platform for a cool $43 billion. Musk says he wants it all to himself.
All right, the world's richest man is offering to buy Twitter for $43 billion. A move coming less than a week after he announced he would not be joining the board after purchasing that 9.2% stake, perhaps so he could do exactly this, Bianca.
Yes, it could be that strategy. National correspondent Mike Carter live in our New York studio with more on Elon's play here. Pretty brilliant, some are saying, Mike.
Hey, that's right, guys. Big news and big tech for sure. Well, after holding an emergency meeting this morning to discuss Musk's proposed takeover, Twitter is now planning a company all-hands meeting this afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific time to discuss Musk's offer to buy 100% of Twitter Inc. Musk says Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company and is now making a best and final offer to buy it out. In a 4-word tweet this morning, Musk sent the social media world into a frenzy and put the world on notice, saying, quote, "I made an offer." The world's richest man is offering $54.20 per share in cash, representing a 54% premium over the January 28th closing price and a valuation of about $43 billion. Now, some online are pointing to an inside joke with Musk by using the number 420 included in that evaluation, that $54.20 per share offer. Last week, Musk had joked about smoking weed at Twitter board meetings, even sharing a meme of him surrounded by smoke during his infamous 2018 appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Well, Musk's most infamous reference to the number also occurred in 2018 when the billionaire tweeted he was considering taking Tesla private at what number? Well, $420 per share, funding secured. The social media company's shares soaring by 18% in pre-market trading today. The 50-year-old Tesla CEO announced the offer in a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission last week after turning down a potential board seat with Twitter. And Georgia congressional candidate Vernon Jones getting in on the fun today, saying, quote, "Elon Musk just made a $43 billion offer to buy 100% of Twitter. This is how we take down big tech. Elon is quickly becoming my favorite African American." And obviously the ramifications of this move are gigantic, not only for free speech online, but for those folks who have already been censored by Twitter and other big tech. Former President Donald Trump comes to mind. You think of the Babylon Bee and John and Bianca, the New York Post, maybe most infamously with that Hunter Biden laptop story more than 500 days ago. I mean, that was censored right before their Twitter account, censored right before the election. So this could be huge.
Yeah, everybody's asking Elon now for personal favors. I saw Tom Brady, Mike, ask if Elon Musk does buy Twitter, can he get rid of the combine picture that Tom Brady never wants to see again? The infamous combine picture. Great to see you, Mike Carter, for us.
The internet never forgets, Joe.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Thanks,
all right,
Mike.
Let's continue our conversation about Elon Musk now and welcome in host of the Rubin Report, Dave Rubin. His new book, Don't Burn This Country, is finally out after I promoted it for about 17 months. Dave, great to have you with us. I have a copy, my copy right here, and we'll talk more about the book in just a second. But
John, I owe you one because you single-handedly were promoting this thing for 7 years before I promoted it on this very show, before the book was released. So I am forever indebted to you. It's good to be back with you, my friend.
I knew I was going to like the book, and also it's just because we copied over your intro from the previous weeks, and I just left it in there for good measure. But anyway, let's talk about the book in a second. So Elon Musk here, you know, it's interesting because he is like the only person, unless you subscribe to the Mitt Romney definition of peoplehood, he's the only real person that actually is a majority or a big shareholder. It's the Vanguard Group, Morgan Stanley, BlackRock, State Street Group. They're the other largest shareholders of Twitter. And I think when it comes to this, Gordon Gekko was actually right. Obviously no hero, but here's what he said about corporate America back in the 80s.
Carnegie's, the Mellons, the men that built this great industrial empire made sure of it because it was their money at stake. Today, management has no stake in the company.
Now, I know Jack Dorsey founded it and Parag Agrawal is the CEO, but they act like they really don't care about us, the users of the platform, or what the American public really thinks. They're only beholden to their woke ideology.
John, that's a beautiful clip. And yes, this is the interesting thing that's happening right now. What he's saying in that clip and what you're getting at is that the individual still has a chance against the machine. That Elon Musk, you may think he is this Tony Stark-like billionaire who shoots Teslas into space just because he can and is going to Mars and building underground tunnels and all of these things. But what he is one man who is an extraordinary innovator and a Renaissance man unlike anyone else. And really think about him this way. He could do literally anything. He could do anything you can think of and probably a whole bunch of stuff that you can't think of with the rest of his life. If he wanted to just build a rocket ship, take his family, and go live on Mars for the rest of his life, maybe he'll do it one day, but he could do it right now. Instead, what he chose to do is put his money where his mouth is say, hey, I will take $43 billion, which is not chump change even for a guy like him, and I will try my best to restore free speech in the public square of Twitter, which is what Twitter has become. Like it or not, it just is that. Right. So the fact that he's getting involved in this, the fact that so many Twitter employees are freaking out about this, the fact that so many blue check journalists online are suddenly freaking out that Elon Musk might expand free speech, perhaps bring back the Orange Man, perhaps allow the Babylon Bee back on Twitter. Tucker Carlson has also been banned on Twitter for the last couple of weeks, basically for saying that there are differences between men and women. The fact that Musk is saying, hey, let's just open this thing up again so we can freely exchange ideas, and so many people are freaking out. This is awesome. I declared today, by the way, John, on my program this morning, today is day one of a post-woke world because we needed somebody to give us a sign. We needed somebody to show us that there was a vision for the future where we could stand up against the monster. He's one guy, he's one individual, but that's exactly what he's doing. And I think the Twitter shareholders that are going to have to make some decisions right now, it's like, man, take your money and run. Take it right now, because otherwise Twitter does not have a great future for all of the reasons that you described.
And talk to us, too, because you're so deeply involved in all this stuff with locals and Rumble. What does this do to the broader landscape of social media?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful because the thing is we need more platforms, not less. We need more of a plurality of voices, not less. We need new avenues so people can say things. That's why I originally started locals.com. It's why we merged with Rumble and we're competing with YouTube and we're competing with Amazon AWS. But that's not just the only answer. We need Twitter, whether you like it or not, and all of us have a love-hate relationship with Twitter. Every single person that's on Twitter wishes they were tweeting less, but we're all on there doing our Twitter thing. But it has become the place where politicians and journalists and citizens alike all get there to speak their minds. Some of them do it with their face, some of them do it anonymously, but it is where the full exchange of ideas seems to be happening, even though it's relatively a small percentage of Americans that are actually on there, but that's where the conversation is driven.
Yep.
So the idea that this will be now more open, because what's really interesting about this, John, is that in some ways I think you could argue that this all boils down to one thing, which is the Trump factor. Because if he comes in and says, hey, this is about free speech, I want to defend free speech, well, he's not stupid. He's actually quite brilliant, right? So he has to look down the road a couple miles, and he knows down that road a couple miles, there's this big shiny orange object, okay? And that shiny orange object is not on Twitter. But if you're going to say, hey, I'm getting in for free speech, well, now orange object may want to jump on that bus. So that seems to me where this is all headed. And perhaps the CEO of Twitter and the board members and everybody else were just saying, hey, that is a bridge too far for us. We don't like this. And this is going to be an extraordinary meeting. Did you say it was later today? I mean,
I think so.
They got to live stream that thing.
Yeah, I love the disruptive nature of this. It needs some disruption, and Elon Musk is the perfect guy. Now, let's talk about the book a little bit, and I'm going to flash forward to my favorite chapter in the book, which comes towards the end, and I'll let you tell the story since you wrote it. But you were on tour with Jordan Peterson for his book, 12 Rules. You guys were in Dublin, Ireland, and you come out of the theater and walk into an alleyway, and you approach two Irish guys. You thought they may be drunk or something. Tell us what happened.
It really was one of the most extraordinary moments in my life. So we had just finished up the stop in Dublin. And, you know, when you do these shows at big theaters, you can't really, if you're the performer, you can't usually walk out the main entrance because there's a lot of people waiting for you. So they usually have these side doors that you can walk out into a dark alley, which is a little bizarre, but that's what it is. Anyway, Jordan and I and the tour manager and Jordan's wife walk out into the alley, and we see two guys in the distance. And they're hugging, but like sort of up in each other's face, and we couldn't quite hear what they were saying. And then they immediately start rushing towards us. And for a second, we thought they were going to maybe assault us or go after Jordan or something. We didn't know what was happening. But then as they got close to us, we realized that they both had tears in their eyes. They were both crying. And what they told us was one of the most amazing things that I had ever heard. They were actually a father and son. The son was about 25 years old. The father was probably 60, something like that. And they had had a falling out about 5 years before. They had not spoken in 5 years. But then by reading Jordan's book, 12 Rules for Life, they had both incorporated some of the ideas in the book into their lives. They had gotten somewhat of their lives back together. And then independently and alone, they both showed up to the theater that night to listen to Jordan talk. And as they were walking out of the theater, they saw each other. And they hugged, they cried, and they made amends. They told us that story. Jordan began to cry. His wife began to cry. John, the tour manager, began to cry. I'm a little less emotional than these people, but I began to tear up. And it was such a confirmation that I can actually link back to the Elon story that we're talking about. One man doing something good in the world, in this case, Jordan Peterson, this is what I believe, this is what I'm going to say, can inspire all sorts of people. And that's just one of many stories that I could tell about Jordan, but it's one of the big ones from the book.
Well, through you, I learned more about Jordan Peterson. Also, Thomas Sowell, you talk about as well. But this is what you write in that chapter, and it's called "Be a Hero, Not a Comrade." Here's what you write: while we may exist as individuals independent of one another, we can still be deeply connected to one another. Sure, someone can choose to live a selfish, disconnected life all alone in their giant mansion at the top of the hill, and that's totally fine, I suppose. But my God, you miss out when you don't really connect with people in your orbit and beyond. Great stuff, Dave. Great book. Congratulations, and thanks for the kind words in the beginning. Great to see you, as
John,
always.
I hear a rumor that you might appear at the
Appear?
What is it, the
I don't know about
Improv.
appear. I'm going to go.
I don't know about appear, but you might be in the audience at the West Palm Improv on April 19th, where I have my first tour stop. That's where we're kicking it off with this guy, Donald Trump Jr. You might have heard of him.
I will be there.
If the Newsmax audience wants to see John Bachman in person with that tan and the newsman hair and the whole thing, they should come out and join us. DaveRubin.com/events.
I will be there. I will be there, Dave, and I'm sure you'll kill it up there at the Improv in West Palm Beach. I'm looking forward to your stand-up and the intro from Donald Trump Jr. We'll see you next week, Dave.
Thanks, John.
Take care.